Hello, friends. Welcome to Squaird Plans, where creative planning and organization comes to life. I'm Stephanie, and today we're going to be designing a horizontal layout for the third week in January in my classic Happy Planner. So come plan with me. And I've got some stamping inks ready to go, as well as this calligraphy ink, some washi tape, some stamping tools, these mild liners, this Planny Thing sticker book, and these Happy Planner sticker books, which I'll pull from. So this is the third week of the January Planable Challenge, and this week's theme is Winter Blues. So if you'd like to participate, go ahead and post your spreads up on Instagram using the hashtag PlanableJanuary2023. We'd love to see what you come up with. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and lay down some wax paper and get started here on the design for the week. So I'm pretty sure I want to use these really pretty watercolor florals from that crystal and floral sticker book from Planny Thing. I've had this in my stash since fall and am excited to bring out the florals here. Even though it's still January, I just love this blue tone that I think will work perfectly for this winter theme. I also have a few quotes here that I'll be pulling in from one of the Happy Planner winter sticker books that I think will match well again with the blues of this theme and also kind of tie in the winter aspect of this design. So I'm going to go ahead and lay in some florals here in the corner, just again kind of sticking with the blues here for the winter blues theme. And I've dropped in a silver branch there in the corner, which is being obscured by my hair that is coming into frame. Sorry about that. A little camouflage for what I'm doing there to make things interesting. Anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and put some florals, like I said, in that corner and a few florals at the top, maybe here in the center. Working, I think, towards a triangular design with the two bottom corners and then the top middle being full of decor. So I'm going to play around with which florals I'm using here. I didn't quite like this circular shaped florals as much as I did the ones that have a more petally lighter look to them. So I'm going to switch those ones out and then also bring in a few from a different collection within the sticker book to add a little bit more of the darkness that I feel like it needs here on the spread. Again, I'm going to try to bring in those silver branches. In the beginning here, I was kind of working with the idea that I would use silver as one of the colors here on the spread. So I started to bring in those branches, but I'll probably end up not keeping them because I did find it hard to tie in the silver in other areas. But for now, I'll put them in and we'll see how that goes. Again, kind of working in a triangular shape with the florals at the top and then in the corners. And then I use that quote there. It says, "Welcome winter," to tie it all together. Just cut it in half and laid it across the middle. So as you can see, I was, again, kind of going back into those winter sticker books, looking at the silver elements and maybe even some other blues that I might be able to tie in. And I'm not real sure what I want to use. I pulled the other winter sticker book that you just saw there because it had a very similar font as the one that I'll be using primarily for that Welcome Winter quote. I thought I might be able to bring in a few more quotes or something from there, but wasn't really finding anything that was speaking to me at that moment. I'm also bringing in some white washi tape, which this same technique I used recently in my faith planning setup for January. I kind of like the idea of it mimicking snow. So I'm just going to use that at the bottom mainly for a little bit of cover, maybe like the florals are within the snow, just to soften up a little bit the edges of the florals a bit. I'll be doing some stamping techniques in the background, so I just wanted to have a little bit of a softness there with the overlaying of the white washi. And then I'll probably use it again at the top as I have it set in there. Even though if it was really snow, it really wouldn't be just sitting there at the top, but I think it works. Maybe it's a cloud. Who knows? I've also pulled in some accessory items for the focus boxes there at the top from the winter sticker book, and also some boxes here from the Planny Thing sticker book as well. And just trying to figure out how best to lay them in. I use those colored boxes for focuses on my days. They really help me to call out something unique for the day so I know what to focus in on for that day, and then I'll list out my tasks next to it in the side. So I'm just kind of layering in some of those headers, seeing what I can make happen there with what I've pulled and those same kind of blue tones that I'm using in the florals. And going back through, just seeing if I want to add in any more floral elements in and around the spread outside of the 3 main decor areas. And I really like this kind of softer blue one, so I'm going to try to tie it in with the header here. Maybe make a little space for a focus in between the quote and the floral header. We'll see. And maybe tie in some of these smaller blue florals as well on the other boxes, just to add a little bit more decor here. I know that florals really isn't the first choice that somebody would think for a winter theme, but I think when you see the final result that it all works together. Plus, I can't wait for some spring vibes. I'm already itching for spring. Holidays are over. We're in the dead of winter, if you will. So I am looking for any excuse to add some spring floral elements to my spread. So these blue florals came in right on time. And again, just trying to figure out exactly how much extra floral decor I want to add in here on those focus boxes. Also expanded the top a little bit with some different florals that I found along the way as I was searching for those smaller blue flowers to work in. And maybe beef up some of these skinnier boxes that I have, so it has a little bit more presence there on each day. And I think we're at a good spot to get ready to move everything over, but I do want to do a little sampling of the stamping I'm going to be doing before putting it down on the page. It's always good to do a little test run for me so that I can kind of get a feel for what's about to happen before I do it. So I just did that on a piece of scrap copier paper and just tried to see how the blending would go with these 2 inks. And I like it. It's a little bit softer than the first attempt I had there on the side. So we will go forward with this. And I'm using 2 inks here. One is a Distressed Oxide from Tim Holtz, and it's in a really soft blue tone, which I like. It's not inky, so it really has more of like a powdery feel and really floats on top of the page, so it doesn't sink in at all, which I love with planner pages because they are double-sided. And I'm using a blending brush to apply it, and am kind of smushing it around. I got that brush at Michael's in their stamping area, and you can also buy it online. I'll have links below to all the items I can find if you're looking for something in particular. And then I layered that with some Versa chalk ink, which again doesn't sink into the paper as much. It kind of floats on the top, which is great. It's a little less satiny than the distressed oxide, but it has a very similar effect, kind of a chalky look to it, so it doesn't seem too saturating. And I blended those together really nicely. I love the effect of kind of like just a soft mist from behind the florals. I think it really adds a lot to the dimension of those areas. And then I remembered I wanted to add in a little bit of texture with this speckle that was in the Plan Anything sticker book. And I'm just cutting it up and placing it in and around the florals to add a little bit of texture. And then I'll drop in the rest of the stickers where they were on the wax paper. Maybe making some small adjustments to give a little bit more room for writing here, especially here where this header is. I'll also trim off the edges and try to save any big pieces for use in different areas. Again, just kind of trimming things out. I'm going to shorten up this washi tape a little bit just so that it kind of cascades off the page. And then move over to the right hand side and do the same on this side. I'm enjoying using mixed media here. Am still using the hammer mill paper on this first month. I had originally printed my horizontal on the Niha paper, which is a thicker paper that handles like watercolor and things a lot better. But when I reprinted it for adding in my overview page, I decided just to do it standard like I'm used to with the 32-pound paper and try the Niha paper for the next month. That way I could just, start with something I was familiar with. So again, this is a thinner paper and those inks really work well on that. They don't sink into the page, so you can do it on a double-sided layout like this. And now I'm stamping in some snowflakes using just a wooden snowflake stamp I've had in my stash for ages. Using the distressed oxide blue to softly add in a little bit more winter vibe here at the top. And we will drop in that large floral cluster here, kind of complete the spread. Just trying to get it all lined up nicely. That takes a minute. I think I'll do one side at a time. Just make things a little bit easier, maybe. We'll see. We'll do them both together. I got them all lined up, and then I just went ahead and rolled off the edges. I have this little extra piece here that I need to find a home for. So I'll drop that in, and then I will trim off some of these elements that I don't need. And again, save up any usable parts for other places on the spread. It might be a little bit easier to manage though if I could separate out these two pages. So I'll just go ahead and grab my cutting mat and my precision cutter to easily separate the pages out. And I used 2 pieces of washi tape here at the top that I just overlapped to make sure that they would reach to the edge. So I'll clean those parts up as well. And just trimming them out as I go. I'll also need to clean out the holes eventually where these stickers are overlapping, so I will quickly do that again with my precision cutter. I thought about maybe layering another layer of the white washi on top to kind of simulate more of a cloud look, but then I decided against it. Go back to cutting out the holes. I think we're good there. Just put in the last of these boxes. And then also try to use up any of those trim pieces that I have here to fill out some of the edges of the spread. Just a few more, see if I can work those in. Maybe I'll put them here on the interior boxes and make it a little bit easier to use those up, since the other florals are cascading off the page and have that washi tape overlay. And now here comes the fun part. I'm going to add a little bit more texture using some white calligraphy ink, simulating a little bit of a snowy effect with some splattering. So I just laid down a background sheet and I'm going to pull in some of that white calligraphy ink here on a water brush pen so I can get a nice splattering. I have a bit more control than I do with my splatter tool that I have. So I'm just going to flick it on to the blue florals mainly and let that sit for a second as it dries. And we'll just rush through that part, let it get all dried up. And once I'm done with that, we will add in my checklist here with my mild liner. So I'm just going to use some small little bullets for my checklist. And once we are done with that, you guys, we will be done, friends. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up down below. Also, too, go ahead and leave me a comment if you'd like to get in touch. And think about subscribing to my channel if you haven't already, if you'd like to see more of my videos. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And we will see you next time. Bye.